Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more. 'Cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's barre and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too. And many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice piano stream from right within her home. She's in such big condition, she'll outrun the metronome. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. They're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yet controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression. So remember, you take part at your own risk and your discretion. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Elena if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, then you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far.
Hello, hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Elena's Barre. How is everyone doing today? Good.
Great.
Good to see you, Nick, because last week you were not here with us. Yeah, guys, today we have a fun topic that's going probably to frustrate quite a few people in the red pill community. And yeah, we are going to talk about the hypergamy insurance, which includes money, muscles, and game.
Can you guys tell that she's been looking forward to this one?
Well,
what is hypergamy insurance?
Well, you tell me, because you suggested this topic, Nick.
Well, it's a combination of 2 words, hypergamy and insurance. And insurance is something you pay into to collect if something goes wrong, or it's the idea that you're protected no matter what. It's the idea of some sort of protection of something, But hypergamy is the sexual strategy of women. Generally, they try to date the best they possibly can to fit their sexual and provider needs.
Okay.
Well, and I want to point something out about hypergamy. Hypergamy itself is not a problem. It is a valid and good strategy for women from a biological standpoint, and even in the modern day, to find and acquire the very best man that they can. Right? It is.
Yeah, that's where the problem is. Best man that's out there in the entire world, which is how it's perceived now, or the best man available in the near proximity to you. Or
by near proximity, you mean the internet and the global sexual?
No.
Okay.
The best man that you know that lives within 5 to 30 miles of you.
Okay.
Horse riding distance.
Okay.
Pretty much. That's how it always worked.
Yeah.
Historically.
Yeah, but does it apply now? Like, women can go on internet, upload their pictures of their pretties, and then get pretty much any man that they want from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's just stupid. Because you can see a picture of a man. Oh, he looks nice. Oh, he has a good resume. oh, he's successful. So what? There's this thing called chemistry between people. It's how they interact,
Okay.
and the wit, and how they smell, how they carry themselves, how they interact with others. You can't see any of that on the internet. So that makes the whole thing basically a farce when you're doing these dating sites. It's a crapshoot. You're not getting the best man because you're only looking at a picture. I mean,
But the picture
just like
shows
cars.
so
You
much.
can buy
Look,
a
Steve, if he has a Lamborghini and a fancy lifestyle, it shows so much to women.
Yeah, he could be
Well,
renting
yeah.
a car.
But hey,
That is a
Plutarch,
thing.
you know a little bit about cars. Aren't there some great looking cars that are pieces of crap? Either they don't perform or they're just a maintenance nightmare. But damn, that looks fine.
Yeah, the aforementioned Lamborghini. Look, those cars are famous for spending, like, the guys will tell who own them will tell you, oh yeah, that car, it spends all week in the shop so I can drive it on Sunday. And then back to the shop.
Do you think women care about that? Oh, of course not.
No, that's not the point.
Okay.
Women are looking at the surface.
Yes.
There is silly and irrational about, oh, that's a surface, beautiful thing, beautiful man, I want him. Just like the man who looks at the surface and the curves of this Lamborghini and buys that for a lot of money, and then the thing just costs him even more money to maintain, doesn't perform, or always breaks down. It was just a bad idea. It wasn't the best car.
As White
Yeah,
Claws,
but a woman can be the wrong woman could be a worse idea than a Lamborghini.
It's true. As White Claws says, bring out the Bugatti. And look, a Veyron or a Chiron, they are gorgeous cars. They really are. And they are immaculately built. Right? Like they are they're wonderful cars. They read about the Veyron's transmission sometimes. Like these things are custom built. They're hand built. Like, you're going to, if you buy one of these things, you know that you are going to spend a metric shit ton of money on them. And look, for some guys, that's fine. There are people, I mean, here's the thing, we're laughing and joking about how much time a Lamborghini or a Bugatti spends in the shop. But there's guys out there who can afford that, and they're okay with that. And to which I have to say, look, if you want to buy a Lamborghini and you can afford it, knock yourself out.
There's another analogy which should apply, maybe women can relate to. It's just out there now. It's the Hermès bag. What do you call it? Revelation. Women would spend just thousands of dollars on an Hermès purse, Hermes, but I think it's Hermès. And they found out it's coming out now, and they were made in China.
Oh, geez.
Made very well, but 95 to 90%, 8% of the bag was made in China. Then it was shipped back to France. And in France, they put in a zipper or put on the label or something like that. And then stamped it made in France. And some of these sell for $20,000 and up. Some are in, probably below 10. But this bag, you can buy the same bag from China, if you have the connections or know where to go, for about $1,000. And they are very good bags. I mean, the leather quality is good. The craftsmanship is great. Some great stuff does come out of China, but then it wouldn't have the Hermès label. So you can buy the, authentic one. She thinks she's buying the best.
Yeah.
He's getting the same bag. You could go down to the local department store and
Mhm.
probably pay $600 to $1,200. Okay, that's a very nice bag. Or you can get it at Hermes. Oh, the great one. You saw it online and you wanted that. And that's the only one for you
Oh.
because you deserve the best. Hey,
So
no better.
you can
So you find the best man or you find the local man. The best man you can see is no better than the local guy that you rejected.
Exactly.
let's finance bro it better. Got to get more real estate, more assets, whatever, have all your money sunk into these things, may saying I make all this amount of sales, I have this McMansion, but and so a girl will see all that, but find out, yeah, he has all that stuff, but he has no substance.
Mhm.
Okay, Nick. Do women care if he has no substance?
No.
Okay, so what's the problem here?
You
Some.
can
I have
steal
a
them
different
and you
answer.
can sell anything.
Privately, they care. Publicly, they don't care. Because they just want that great looking man because they're in competition with other women. Then they can show off other women the great man that they have and makes them feel good. And then when they come home, he's not paying attention to her feelings and he's not doing this and that. And that's why even great men that everybody, all the women would want, still get divorced and the woman files for divorce from that great man. You heard of Tom Brady?
Well, Tom Brady just didn't hit the gym enough.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever seen a picture of the dude knows that ain't true.
Yep.
Oh, and how much was he worth by the time he retired? What, a 250 million? Or more maybe. I actually don't know what I don't know what he was worth.
But you
Mhm.
see, half that money
Did
is
he not
hers.
have enough game?
Well, he probably actually didn't. I mean, he was pretty well known for being kind of a suck up. Okay, so have we found his problem?
Maybe not enough
No,
money.
I don't think that's really his problem. I mean, he could fix that, but that's not really the problem.
Okay, so then we brought him up. So if game was a problem but not the problem, then why did she leave for a unknown, compared to her and him, poor, what was he? So some sort of gym instructor. He was like, I think
Jiu-jitsu or taekwondo instructor, something like that.
Yeah, he's some sort of martial arts instructor. So why did she leave for that guy? He's not as rich.
Pingles.
Okay, Steve, do you have a theory?
Yeah, it amounts to tingles, I guess. She just felt the urge and she wasn't happy. Tom didn't do it for her any longer or something. She had to find herself, so she had to go on a journey.
Yeah, she had the goat and she wasn't happy.
So what you're saying is you can have somebody who is at the absolute top of their game, is look, Tom Brady's going into the NFL Hall of Fame. There's no question about that. Okay. Rich beyond most men's wildest dreams, right? Okay. And yet somehow she still found cause to ditch the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys saying that maybe that there's women have this pesky little thing called agency?
Yeah.
Nah, can't be.
Chief. um,
She left for love.
doubtful is how we're going to classify that one. Major doubt.
So if Lloyd's of London offered hypergamy insurance, what would the premiums be?
Well, actually, you can do this. Now that you've got me thinking about it, Steve, you can actually calculate. I mean, what is an insurer? They're an actuarial, right? Their job is to figure out the probability of something occurring. And we in the Red Pill have constantly been talking about the data on divorce, because divorce is kind of like the dividing line where you can say, the marriage failed. So, well, we know from James Sexton that the divorce rate of first marriages is 56%. The divorce rate of second marriages is 64%. And the divorce rate of third marriages is 72%. So Lloyd's of London can look at that and say, okay, these are the percentage odds if you buy our insurance that you will get divorced. And what would be the payout? Well, actually, that is also pretty easy to calculate. What is the cost to the man of the divorce? In the case of Tom Brady, it would be, well, in his particular case, because she's at least as rich as he is, it might be nothing. But for most men, that is half of her, half of his things, and she gets half of it. And she gets ongoing costs. Insurance can calculate that too. What will be the ongoing cost over the course of the divorce. So, my God, would it be expensive?
It would
And
be
loss of
expensive
access
and-
to his children is an intangible that you just have to assign a value to.
Yeah.
And they would, like,
Right.
And then also keep in mind that 70% of divorces are initiated by women. So even if men pay for this insurance, I don't think the insurance company will survive, honestly.
So
Judging based on how
I'd
many
figure,
divorces are.
in round terms, my first divorce in what I lost, upside, the cost, mental, everything in there. It's okay, $1 million. Sounds like a lot, but you add it up, you lose most of your retirement, and you spend 30, 40, $50,000 on legal fees. That's capital out the window. That it's gone now. So just figure $500,000 to $1 million. That would mean, and that's not even factoring in loss of children. So the company has to recover that plus a profit margin. So we'll just say $1 million cost me. So that would mean they would have to recover $1 million plus to cover that. But not everybody gets divorced. So that insurance would have cost me $500,000. And another guy who didn't get divorced, it would have cost him $500,000. So I can be paid out my $1 million. So I would have spent $500,000 to protect against $1 million loss. So yeah, I come up just a little bit ahead, $500,000. That's, but these are the numbers we're talking about. Hypergamy insurance. Oh, wait. Did I have money? Well, I had enough, but I was out of a job at the time. Did I have muscles? No. Did I have game? No. Okay, well, if I'd have had those things, she wouldn't have divorced me, right?
There's no guarantee.
if you had ideally, so if you had all of these three things, money, muscles, game, you wouldn't need the insurance, right? Because she would stay with you. I mean, what would be the purpose? Isn't it what?
That is the narrative that
Yeah.
is being promoted by the red pill.
And, okay, I want to point something out. That narrative is not native to the red pill. That narrative is imported from somewhere else, particularly the tradcons. The tradcons need this narrative because, and we've talked about this before, the tradcons have a woman problem. Specifically, they have too many women in their churches and not enough men to marry those women.
Mm-hmm.
So the tradcons need a system. We'll call it a system. They need a system that they can sell men to say, if you do these things, then she won't leave. So you can also see this in people like Tim Gordon. They say, oh, just pray with her more and she'll stick around. He's actually said this publicly. All you got to do to keep your Christian woman around, pray with her twice a day.
Dance, monkey, dance.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Just perform harder
Mm-hmm.
and she'll stick around. Well, the problem is Tom Brady presents the perfect example of why that is never going to be enough. Tom Brady could not have performed harder. There's no one in his field that could perform harder than he did. And certainly no one did while he was doing it. He was called the greatest of all time for a reason. Okay. And here he is getting dragged through divorce court all the same. Because it doesn't matter how hard you perform. It doesn't matter. But the tradcons need it to matter because they need to be able to go to men and say, hey, look, we have an answer. You can get married and you will be saved from divorce court.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to, be fit, not fat,
No, we're not saying
pray,
that.
be successful in a business. Hey, even a dirty mechanic.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's not a bad thing.
You
But
see all
it's
these
not a-
articles about Gen Z going into the trades. It's not a bad thing.
Right. But it's
But
no
it's this-
guarantee.
It's the fallacy that if a man does the man things well enough, that she'll just stay. Basically, it's removal of her agency. The woman is not a factor in the equation if the man has money, muscles, and game and prays with her. Therefore, you just apply that formula and she'll just magically stay.
But watch this, Steve. If she has no agency, then we can't hold her accountable for her own actions.
Well, if you're a tradcon, that's the point.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Look at how they talk. Well, but look at how they talk about it. Like going back to the Tim Gordon example, all you have to do to get her to stay is to pray twice a day with her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where is the woman's agency in that? He doesn't want to talk about the agency. In that tradcon narrative, her actions are simply reactive to what the man does. She has no ability to say, you know what? I want new dick. I'm out. Because
Mm-hmm.
because look at how he talks about it when a guy would say this. So this guy says, well, look, she can choose to leave anyway. He'd say, and then he says, what that means is you didn't pray hard enough or sincerely enough. You didn't give her enough. I'm trying to think of something he actually said, but
you didn't
go ahead.
Love her as Christ loved the church.
Yeah. You didn't love her like Christ loved the church. Note how the solution is always on the man.
Yeah.
If you have somebody saying that the solution to your problems is you, then they are selling this narrative.
So, are you saying that these tradcon men who are promoting this are not loving and caring? Because, after all, when you come to them and say, my wife divorced me, they're very willing to tell you what you did wrong to cause that to happen.
Don't I know it? God, don't I know that? Hey, Nick, was that your experience too? Sorry.
A lot of them. Yeah, a lot of the church, that's what they did. Well, you must have not loved her enough. You didn't sacrifice enough. You did this. You did that. You're in sin.
Right. It's almost like there's assumption that if she left, it's because you sinned somewhere. And you know what? I'm a human. Nick, what does that mean that I did at some point if I'm a human?
Well, you've sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Yep.
But what does that mean about her?
Oh no, they're perfect little angels, right?
She's goddess. She can't sin, guys. Did you forget that? Important
No,
narrative.
girls don't fart.
Exactly.
Their
She can
shit
do no
doesn't
wrong.
stink.
Exactly. She can do no wrong. She's perfect. She's goddess. She
Right.
determines the sincerity of your praise and everything that you do.
Exactly. So what you have here is actually a very similar narrative to what the feminists say about men. The feminist is a mirror image of this. See, because the feminist will also say that women can do no wrong and that men do everything wrong. They say the same thing.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Now, the feminist men out there will say the same thing. Oh yeah, men are men. I mean, hell, where do we get man bad narrative from? And so, when the tradcons talk about, hypergamy insurance, they don't call it that because they're not dumb, but that is what they're selling. Okay. The tradcons sell the church as hypergamy insurance. That's literally what Tim Gordon was doing. Okay. He's literally trying to say, if you get on your knees and pray twice a day, she will never leave you. That's hypergamy insurance. Okay. When you say that what you're saying,
like Joel Osteen. Hey, you just have to have this positivity mindset, and all will fall into the F out of here with that crap.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Nikki doesn't work?
It's probably actually
There goes my
sinful.
connection.
Oh,
we can still hear you. But it's probably actually sinful to say that. To say that it's all on.
I'm gonna stop my camera. It's spazzing out.
Yeah, okay.
So this word mindset, you need the right masculine mindset, hypergamy insurance, money, muscles, and game. Mindset it's magical. And in the same way, on women's side, if she wants more, all she has to do is manifest. She can use manifesting magic, and he can use mindset magic.
yeah.
Should we have titled this episode "Magical Thinking"? Because that's look. We have literally spent the past half an hour talking about all the various ways that people are pushing magical thinking.
Yeah.
Hey, $5. I'll send you a prayer cloth, guys. Only $5 a prayer cloth. And when you
Get it
use that,
now.
God may grant you your wishes or your prayers. Okay, yes, I'm joking, but you see that stuff on the TV shows.
Yes.
You just didn't go to the latest Benny Hinn revival to get slain in the spirit.
So
well, I just have a question for you, Nick. Does this prayer cloth have any uses in the bedroom? 'Cause that's where I want some magic to happen.
No. For $5 more a month.
You need to pay more, Steve, if you want that kind of magic in the bedroom. Buy that book, that special book that will teach you how to get that magic to happen.
hey, the Bible is a magic book with full of incantations and things you can say to make your woman swoon, isn't it? Isn't it?
Oh.
Well, I mean, my point here, Nick, I agree with you, but my point is many churches have commodified the Bible like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So can if the Bible itself can be commodified.
Well, we have to have a Pope blessed relic for sexual arousal.
Are you picking on Steve?
Yes. I wonder if that
Yeah,
exists.
well, no, come on. The Catholic Church only has those kind of medallions for promotion of chastity. And you can define that however you want. Well, for purity.
But so if you take it off, it'll help, right?
I don't know. There could be some after effects. Those are called sacramentals. They bring grace to you. Well, and you might need a little bit of devotion too. But they don't have an arousal sacramental that I know of.
Man, they're missing out on some money.
I think so. Yeah.
I was going to say, this actually sounds like a fantastic business plan. Now, guys, yes, we are joking and making fun of the church a little bit here, but it is to prove a point. And that point is that it is beneficial to organizations, people, to sell you something where they can always claim that it's your fault if the thing that they're selling you fails. By the way, we have a term for this. It's kind of an old term. Steve, you might enjoy this. Snake oil.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You're selling snake oil because if when the snake oil didn't work, they could always say, well, you didn't use enough. And that would be to their benefit. Why? Because they could sell you even more snake oil. These grifts were incredibly popular in the 1910s and the 1920s. And they were incredibly popular before that. They of fell out of the wayside
now.
for these things come and go.
Mhm.
And there's reasons why they come and go. And there's probably a whole stream in there on that because
there's another word for that. They tried to legitimize snake oil. They called it patent medicine. So what's the church trying to do? They try and make it special. They try to patent it. We have the answer. Pray more.
Mm-hmm.
Pray with her. So that's kind of moving
That's
it
normal
from
water. Our water's holy.
You're right. It's trying to purify or legitimize the snake oil into a patented, proven, documented answer.
Exactly.
My water
The-
has electrolytes.
Brondo. Okay, so I mean, we have reduced this entire tradcon narrative to idiocracy. Brondo. Our holy water has electrolytes. There you go. We now have the solution for all your marriage woes. Brondo.
So the
Got what the plants crave.
the faction of the red pill that's promoting hypergamy insurance. It's like the church has Coke, they have Pepsi.
Both will kill you. No, they will. You drink enough Pepsi, you drink that much sugar, it'll kill you. Heart disease. You drink that much Coke, that much sugar, it'll kill you. Heart disease.
But what if you do it the right way? Like, maybe there is the right way to do it.
It's fucking sugar. There is no right way to do it. The right way to do it is
small doses delay the inevitable.
the right way to do it is to not do it. It's to eat protein.
Yeah, I know.
And here's the thing. If you spend any amount of time in the gym, that's true.
So, but don't they need to like monetize and keep you endlessly on for a time to keep making money off of you?
The church certainly does. Would we like to discuss this, the church's rapidly falling budgets? I was talking to a friend of mine offline, not in the red pill, and we were talking about his church that's slowly dying because of a lack of income. I'm not going to name any names here.
I thought that women were paying for church. No, women are bringing the donations to church. No,
they are, but this loops back to where we started. If the men don't show up, what use do the women have for the church? We've said this before. The church has a woman problem.
It's even more basic than that. On a simple economic basis, labor is the source of all wealth.
Correct.
And it's men's labor. Men earn the money. That's a source. That's a source that accumulates it or earns it or builds it. Women write out the check to the church, but he is still the source. Yeah, they can divorce him. They can get child support and alimony. And yeah, he's still the source. And she can write out the check. And yep, it can look like the money's coming from her. But once you remove the men from the equation, like they're not getting married anymore.
I see.
All of a sudden the women don't have the money, and the church doesn't matter how much the women want to give money to the church. They just don't have the money to give.
Have the money, so they have to go somewhere where they can get the money. So they go on OnlyFans. Because then they can become the source of that independence.
Yeah, but they're not. I don't think only fools are that supportive of churches.
Oh, it's not, but it's the only.
But Steve, the church supports the only fools.
Exactly.
Yeah, but once they find Jesus, they're not going to give Jesus the money that they earned. Women are very generous giving money that the husband earned, but money that they earned, no, that's a different story.
Yeah, women are not buying.
Well, How many times have we heard a woman say, well, that's my money in a marriage?
Uh-huh.
Right? Okay. That's it, the woman
But
will.
they get really upset when the husband says it's my money. Oh, they throw up.
Well, because
Freaking
what's yours,
fit.
it's mine, you know, so that
Mm.
you know, right? And what's
Oh,
mine is
there's a
mine,
picture.
obviously, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what's hers is hers.
Mhm,
What's ours is hers, and
mhm,
what's yours is ours
mhm,
Yeah,
from a woman's standpoint.
pretty much, actually.
mhm. So you mean they can't go after they leave church? Let's say church doesn't provide them the man, doesn't provide them the labor, the income, the man who brings value, right? After they are done with church, where do they go?
Well, the panties always drop.
Well,
The
I know,
legs
right?
always spread. It's just for who and when.
I mean, there are exceptions to that, but Nick is saying what's generally true. And yeah, it's just that women's wealth, we're just probably just starting to see it. It's drying up. It's going away. And there's been all this talk about, oh, women are doing so great. They're getting the jobs. They're buying more houses than men. Women are doing so well. Okay, great. And they have been.
So who is infiltrating?
But it's tipping now. And pretty soon, when times get tough, women will not have the money. Men may or may not have some money, but men are more adept at saving and surviving than women.
I have a question for you guys. Well, I still remember it. Who do you think is infiltrating the red pill? Is it the women or the tradcons? Because look, if women,
There's no difference between the two.
yeah, I know, but like, look, if women convince the red pill guys, you know, like do money muscles game to satisfy my whims and to be a slave to me, basically, right?
No. That's just not the women selling that.
No, but they really want to. They want to.
No. That is not the women selling that. Who has the problem to solve?
Well, it's the church, but the church is run by women. No?
No, not necessarily. In fact, mostly no.
Well,
It's
Yeah,
heavily
seems
influenced.
okay.
It's heavily influenced, but
okay.
it is the men at the top of the church who are signing off on this. There's a reason I brought up Tim Gordon.
Okay, it's the Sims and the sisterhood.
What you two are kind of arguing about is, do women think strategically?
I'm saying they don't.
And she's saying they do.
Correct.
Now, a woman may be able to think tactically. Here's what I do for my benefit at this time. That's tactics. Strategically, here's how the future, and I need to set these things up so they happen for me and others, and sell this message and promote this ideology or this influence. That's thinking long term. It's more of a strategic thinking. Women don't think strategically.
Well, they have the institutions to think for them strategically.
Yeah, and who's running the institutions?
Men. The whole purpose of feminism was to co-opt men.
Mm.
Remember, feminists want to be men, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But women make pretty shitty men, okay? So they need to co-opt male-dominated institutions like, Steve, you'll like this one, the police force. They need to bend these male-dominated institutions to their will.
Well, isn't it what they are trying to do with the red pill? They're trying to ban the red pill to satisfy them later.
They're trying to blunt it, basically.
Yeah,
The red
bend. I
pill
don't know
is a
if that'll.
sharp weapon, but they're trying to render the weapon ineffective.
Yeah, because the red pill is mostly about the truth of women. It's the reason that the red pill was as successful as it was is it wasn't really an institution. It was an observation or a set of observations, right? And so there wasn't an institution to bend to their will. Instead, they had to come up with a way to blunt or redirect the observations into something that is more useful to them.
Well, darling, I would say that red pill kind of has become the institution, because if we look
No.
at no, look, well, okay, look, let me hear me out. Previously, yes, when it was books, it was all in blogs, right? The men were talking to each other. Now it's media.
No, the medium has no bearing on the truth.
I see. Okay.
So women are acting for two reasons to red pill content. First and foremost is what the red pill teaches about women offends that individual woman, and it makes her individually feel bad. When she feels bad about something you're saying, she's going to try and blunt or refute or ridicule you or call you gay or you have a small penis or whatever. Marginalized. Okay, so
They
that's
usually
the
go
attack.
after the
It's
phallus
it's
for
not
some reason.
it's not a it's not a strategic attack like all the women have this meeting and we're going to get together and do this. No, each individual woman is acting on her own. On the other hand, some individual women are going to say, well, okay, I'm kind of troubled by this, but that's where the men are. So let me in to this group because I want one of these men. And then I'm going to try and get them to soften their message a little bit and then see me in a good light. So she just wants to be a part of the group. Once she becomes part of the group, she can't help but try and influence the message and water it down, but promote herself. So yes, that's still not strategic thinking. That's still not a overall plan. It's an individual woman using tactics to comfort or assuage her feelings.
I see.
I think what you're trying to connect to is that these sort of things, hypergamy, insurance, taking over the church, et cetera, they always seem to benefit one side of the conversation, and they never. Now you can say, "Oh, well," but isn't getting in shape a benefit for the man? It is. It absolutely is. But believe it or not, a man getting in shape is a risk for a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Because he might be able to get a better woman. So the women the women need hypergamy insurance. They do. Because they need to be able to sell that to men to say, well, if you just do these things, I'll stay with you because you will meet my hypergamous nature. But if you actually do those things and excel, particularly with money, other women will start paying more attention to you. And so that's why they sell it as you can keep the woman. Okay. The The women have to sell hypergamy insurance as you will keep me. It's actually a little bit of neurolinguistic programming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your goal should be to keep me, and that's why you should do this. And interestingly enough, you can see this on the other side when you, particularly in the tradcon space, when you step outside the bounds of keeping the woman, all of a sudden they start attacking the exact same thing. For example, going back to money. Nick, how many passages are there in the Bible about the evils of money?
Quite a few.
Yeah, okay. They're going to start hitting you with those.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some. I just thought of this. Conspiracy. I want to talk about the natural use of the word. Men can come together, like the three of us at the Resurgence. We have a similar goal. Therefore, we have a conspiracy because we're moving for a goal to promote truth. That's a conspiracy to influence a large group of people. Would the three of us ever conspire against a single woman? No.
No.
Women, on the other hand, the team woman will conspire against a single man.
Absolutely.
But women lack the ability to conspire. They do not conspire together against all men because they're competing for
Other men.
So they won't conspire to attack men in general. They will act individually to attack a group of men. And since they're so similar, since they're all doing the same thing, you think they're conspiring together. No, they're not. No. Women, cooperation among women, not so much. Cooperation for a common goal, not really.
Well, they can do it. See feminism, right? They can do it.
But they need the help of institutions to help them get what they want.
Well, Rachel Wilson makes this point all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The women need the men to enforce. They don't necessarily need men to create the strategy, and they don't necessarily need men to to work out how they're going to do it and whatnot. Women can work together, but they need men to enforce it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what Steve is saying, however, is still true. Look at all the women who don't like feminism. And you can say, people say, oh no, that's just women reacting to the excesses of modern feminism. No, it's not. Most women didn't want feminism. Most women didn't want the right of suffrage. Most women did not want to give up coverture. They actually understood. The women actually understood what they had. Never make the mistake of thinking that your opponent is stupid. But, and there's a key point here, all of this, placing everything on the man, when you say a person has no agency, you're saying they're stupid. A stupid person and like a retard, somebody with brain damage, is not smart enough to even take care of themselves. They need to be taken care of by somebody else. They are and particularly in the case of people with actual brain damage, they actually usually are considered a ward. The term WARD, ward. They can either be a ward of the state or they can be a ward of an individual. Okay.
But what would you say about women are followers by nature? Like they were designed, ideally, right? Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. They were designed to follow.
Yes.
Sure. But women also rebel. So
Right.
True.
Right.
like,
Right.
we all rebel
Good
against
luck.
our nature.
Mhm.
See, believe it or not, what you actually did there was explain why it doesn't work. If all women, if women were just slaves to their nature,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe hypergamy insurance would work. If women had no agency, had no ability to rebel against their nature, then hypergamy insurance might actually work.
I see. Yeah.
I don't know, Nick. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that might work. But the problem is rebellion.
Right.
Rebellion against nature, which is ultimately rebellion against authority, rebellion against the hierarchy, rebellion ultimately against God.
Well, why do you think they hate the patriarchy so much? They have to rebel against it.
Mm-hmm. And in the end, they destroy themselves.
As they're doing right now.
Yes.
To some extent, I say let them. You know, like,
Yes.
if this is the path they choose to pursue, then I say let them.
Mm-hmm.
So you could even make an argument that selling hypergamy insurance is a good thing, right? Because you're letting women burn, except you're really not. The tradcons, remember what I said, the tradcons purpose here is the tradcons have a woman problem, as in they have too many of them.
Mm-hmm.
They need to offload these women onto men, but the men are starting to wise up. They're starting to get smart to the game. So we need to come in and we need something else to sell them. It's no longer the radfem strategy of berating men into compliance has reached its effective limit. Okay. So now we need something else. And this tactic of saying, okay, well, here you go, just do this and this, and she won't. And I mean, the insurance model's been around for how many centuries? Lloyd's of London started it insuring sailing cargoes from sailing, from tall ships, right? I mean, this has been around for hundreds of years. And so, oh, well, I can't berate them into doing what I want them to do. So what if I instead say, aha, I will sell them insurance. I will tell them that if they do this and this and they buy this and that, then they're insured. Oh, and by the way, it's great. If something happens to their sailing ship, I can blame the crash or sailing into a storm. Blame it on the captain. How dare he sail his ship into that storm? He was an idiot. We don't have to cover the idiots. The insurance doesn't cover the idiots. The insurance only covers the smart people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have something to say there, Steve?
No, not really.
Okay. You were just leaning into the camera like you had something to say.
No, I was pulling up my socks.
So, basically, yeah, we're gonna try to offload these women, and the problem is never the women. The problem is always the man. It's not us.
Right. It's not. It's the man bad narrative. The problem with trying to do money, muscles, and game is you're just promoting man bad narrative. Now, you're not saying man bad. What you're saying is no matter the explanation for all failings is men's insufficiency. It's a softer version of man bad narrative,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still bad in that you made a mistake somewhere that they can point to. And see, this is what I experienced in my first divorce. The men spent I would tell them, yeah, she was playing tonsil hockey with another dude. And they'd go, okay, so what did you do to cause her to do that? What? She can't have decided of her own free will that you claim she has that she wants to go play tonsil hockey with another dude? It has to be something that I did. Well, they think about this like medical insurance. They are looking for a reason to not pay out on the claim.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. But
Yeah,
isn't
there
it
was
what's
negligence involved. When there's negligence, then the insurance doesn't pay.
isn't it
Exactly. Like the captain steering his ship. Well, that captain, he steered into the storm, right? That's negligent captaincy. You know, we don't have to pay out on negligence.
Mhm.
They have to, when you make the man the fault of everything and the source of all problems, then you have to find a fault with the man.
Yeah.
Woman has no agency. Nothing. Doesn't matter what she did, because anything she did was simply a natural derivative of something that the man did. So you have to figure out what the man did.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this kind of narrative is prevalent in the manosphere too. The moment a man fails, she leaves him. What do men hear mostly? Oh, you failed with your game. Your game wasn't on top. Oh,
Well,
you didn't have the money.
Why
Oh,
do
you
men
didn't
do
have the
this?
game. Mhm.
What the thing that the feminists have figured out, because women are really good at manipulating men,
Yeah.
is they've figured out how to manipulate men. And men are very competitive, and men naturally through time are constantly testing each other, right? We are constantly saying, we're constantly teasing each other. We're constantly, I mean, you hear it in that locker room talk that women, hate about. They constantly hate on the locker room talk, right? That is men pushing other men. We're testing other men. Okay.
Well, basically, feminists try to use male nature against men.
Absolutely.
And you have to stop giving a crap as a man.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. What did you say, Elena?
Feminists use male nature against men.
Yeah, I thought so. No. Every woman uses male nature against men, not just the feminists.
Well, the feminists, I mean, by feminists, I include both women, the sisterhood, and the simps,
Well,
Yes.
Well, even daughters. I've seen it. Look, I have two daughters. I've seen, they know how I act as a man, and they say, if I do this, I know he's gonna, feel sorry for me, want to protect me, love on me. Well, I get to do this.
Yes. I do it too. I mean, you're right.
Yes, she does. By the way,
way,
men, part of game is being able to recognize when women are doing this to you and look at them and go, fascinating. No.
say no, guys. Say no to women. Wow.
Well, so there's a bit of a poison pill in this hypergamy insurance, because the only way to actually execute on it is to not do it for women. You that's why I said, fascinating. No, right? If you have to buy hypergamy insurance, you're kind of admitting that you don't have it, that you can't handle it. That's because when you buy insurance, you are, I'm using a trading term, externalizing your risk. You're laying off your risk on somebody else. In the case of Tim Gordon, what would I say he's trying to lay the risk off on God. But here's the thing, you're actually putting the risk on yourself, because you're thinking that, well, if I just do these things, then I'll get this result. Okay. And that is Yes, Steve?
That's magical thinking.
Right, exactly. And so you think you're buying a result, you're not understanding the other side of the transaction. That's why we keep using the insurance model. Medical insurance, their job is to find a way to not pay that claim. Okay? That's their whole job.
Mhm.
The church's
Then
job.
touch-
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the
Oh, you-
church's job is to find a way to not pay that claim because they can't
Oh yeah,
actually afford it.
that's why they didn't do crap to what happened to me.
Exactly.
They just let me rot. Then, oh, but you weren't loving enough, and I'm like, okay.
Well, but this
How
explains
about F you?
this explains also why so many men leave church, and there are a lot of men who are leaving the red pill also.
It's for the same reason.
Same reason.
It is the exact same reason. Both
Yep.
are offering magical thinking. And the men, okay, consider this. This is actually kind of ironic. You have men who have gotten destroyed in the church. Lots of them. Those men probably tend to the more conservative side of things. Maybe they've heard some red pill adjacent guys talk. They go, hey, that guy,
He's a lot of Dalrock. Yeah, they've read some Dalrock.
Yeah, okay.
I know this.
So-
I know this. Yep.
Right. And so they're like, oh, these guys over here, they're saying things that actually sounds true based on what I experienced. So they go to listen. And then they get pulled in a little more and they go, yeah, there's some real truth here. And then 6 months later, they're gone. Because what did they hear? Well, all you've got to do, get your money, muscles, and game in order, and she won't leave you. Do you want to know what they heard from the church? Well, all you got to do is pray
Just
with her,
pray
read
with
the
you.
Bible, and she won't leave. In both cases, the institution, such as it is in the red pill, but the institution of the church is that the message of money, muscles, and game is insurance is no different in practice than the insurance that the church was selling. Yeah, it's different in terms of okay, the red pill doesn't have prayer. The red pill doesn't have like a Bible. Yeah, the
red pill has prayer, darling. Money, muscles, game. You pray to those.
Right, but okay, but so the coat, it's a different coat of paint over the exact same idea. And people, particularly young men, are going, wait a minute, that's what I got over here. You guys are not offering me anything different. You're offering me the same solution.
Suck it up and be
Yes.
a better man.
And when the solution offered doesn't match reality or their experience, they go looking. So they might start out wherever. Then, I'll go to the church because they say they have the answers. And if I just do this, a good man and love Jesus and all that stuff, then I can have a good wife and children. Now, so their experience doesn't match what was being sold. Okay, so I'm going to drift away from there. Then they go to the red pill. Oh, bro, you didn't have money, muscles, and game. So they try that, money, muscles, and game, and the experience, it's not getting me women. It's not keeping me a woman. Oh, guess I'll drift away from there. Because men go seeking answers, and then they go to MGTOW. Well, at least you're not trying to sell me anything here.
Well, and there's some truth to that. The MGTOW guys, like them or not, they're not selling anything. The MGTOW guys are just saying, yep, women be like that. We're not going to deal with it.
Yeah, I actually have more respect for what MGTOW guys are doing because at least they have some standards for women, and they say, okay, women choose to be sluts and crazy and delusional, entitled bitches. We don't want to deal with them. Total
Yeah,
respect.
it's a standard. It's
You know?
not a very hard standard to meet, but it is a standard. The thing I think with particularly the hypergamy insurance crowd is that their program does work in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it works better than, but here's the thing: the church's program also appears to work better in the short term. Even here, there's no significant difference. You find that, look, an only fool's whore comes over to the church and she is on fire for the Lord, and you think you've got this holy warrior woman now. And then a few years later, you find out that she's bored of it.
Yeah, ironically, they both work for 7 to 10 years.
Oh, oh, maybe there's something to this. And but here's the thing: you take a guy who's had his life destroyed by the church. Hate to say it that way, but that okay. And it took him 7 to 10 years to go through that and get through the divorce and all that. He comes over to your side of the fence. We have a saying: once burned, twice shy. He isn't just the guys aren't just going to immediately buy into, well, some guys will, but most guys won't immediately buy into your version of this same strategy. They won't, because they're going to go, wait a minute, this feels awfully familiar. They might not be able to explain what they're seeing. And that's what we're trying to do with this one, with the show today, is we are trying to explain what these men who are leaving are reacting to. Why are they leaving? Because what you are offering, yeah, it has a different coat of paint on it, but when they start scratching under the surface of that paint, they're going, wait a minute, there's nothing different here. And they leave. And the marriage rates tell us that they're not getting married. And so whether you agree with the MGTOW movement or not, whether the men identify with the MGTOW movement or not, that's where they are ending up.
Yeah. And it would be the best case scenario, if they ended up in the MGTOW, actually.
We can debate that.
Yeah, I know.
Because MGTOW has a series of long-term consequences itself. So
True.
Like,
but in comparison to like Black Pill,
I can give you guys. I was out with my friend last night, and he brought his dog along, and we were just he had his new job. Was talking about his new job, right? And the girls come by. It's like, oh, do you use this dog to as a prop to pick up women? And he looked at her. He's like, I don't care about women. I want nothing to do with women. I'm just here with my dog.
And Nick, is this a guy who's like buried in the red pill and has read all the books?
No, he's read some. He's jacked. I mean, jacked, successful, but he's just like, no.
What? He has money, muscles, and game, and he's choosing not to use it.
Wow.
Yes.
That's actually
and it blows the women's mind. They're like, oh, we have nothing to.
Right.
He doesn't want to downgrade himself to satisfy the women, and it's actually shows
it proves something else, though.
He has the frame.
Yes, it proves he has frame, but it also proves something else. Hypergamy insurance is not insurance for men. It is insurance for women. You are insuring their hypergamy.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say that is the objective of Money Muscles Game is to get the girl, and the objective of Money Muscles Game as hypergamy insurance is to keep the girl. Well, who does that benefit the most?
The woman.
Oh. Hypergamy and this ties back to what we said in the beginning. The tradcons have a woman problem. The tradcons need hypergamy insurance to solve their woman problem.
Mm-hmm.
You are not insuring yourself from a woman's hypergamy. You are ensuring that she achieves her hypergamy. That is the point of it. So Nick's friend, jacked, got a new job. You know, he's using pet game, whether he's trying to or not. He has pet game going on. Now, I know, right? But he is doing all of these things. Now he's saying, women, fuck them, don't want to deal with them. And okay, that's a message I can get behind. That is a man who did money, muscles, and game for himself. He did it because it was a good thing to do for himself. Okay? That is an appropriate use of money, muscles, and game. Is what we said in the beginning. Money, muscles, and game are not bad things by themselves. I will never tell a man that he should not get his money on point, that he should sit around and eat Cheetos all day, and that I will never tell a man that.
Well, when you do it for the sake of getting pussy, that's where
now when you do it for the purpose of getting women, now you're doing it to ensure her hypergamy.
Yeah.
Another nuance here. Money, muscles, and game. You are exploiting her hypergamy by saying, I can satisfy that. The tradcon Christians, on the other hand, are denying her hypergamy. If you do this, then her hypergamy doesn't exist. In either case, there's no guarantees.
Because both of those premises require that she has no agency. In both cases, the woman has to be a slave to her hypergamy. She has to be a slave to her biology. She has to be unable to act outside of her biological urges, because all of these things applied either, to getting women or to keeping women, in the case of the church, rely on her being unable to say, well, yeah, you are a decent hypergamous match. Like Tom Brady's a fantastic hypergamous match. But then if she was a slave to her biology, it would end right there. The conversation would end right there. You are a superior hypergamous match. Done.
So there's two major lies. The woman has, no agency, and therefore dance monkey dance.
Right. Because the woman has no agency, all you have to do is perform a checklist of things and she will fall in love with you and stay in love with you.
What ends up happening is actually you enslave yourself to her ends.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she gets off scot-free.
Correct. That's why I say you're ensuring
and the church can
her
wipe their hands of it. Yeah.
Right.
This is why I called them slaves. They are trying to enslave men.
Well, they got the child support
Both
system.
sides. What are they failing? Well, yeah, they're failing to account for her agency. But, we've brought this word up before, rebellion. They are kind of not understanding women's ability to rebel and how common it is.
Steve, got a question for you. Does rebellion require agency?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh. So the next question would be, looks like Steve might be having internet issues there. Next question for Steve is, if rebellion requires agency and they are ignoring the rebellion, does that mean that they're really trying to ignore the agency required to do it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. I think we've actually closed the loop on the argument here by pointing this out. Money, muscles, and game are not bad things. Frame is fantastic. As a man, you absolutely have to have all four. Sorry, boys, if you want to succeed in life, even if you, like Nick's friend, choose to not succeed with women, you've got to have all four. I'm sorry. Life just is not going to work for you if you don't.
And
it's true.
The less you pay attention to women when you have all of these four things, the more women are interested in you.
Oh, God, yes.
So, like, when you don't make your woman your mission, or any woman your mission, you are actually going to be more successful with women.
Correct. And what they are what the tradcons need you to do, what the feminists, the tradcons need you to do, what the feminists need you to do. They need you to make women your mission. Listen to how the tradcons talk about women. It's oral sex. For it, they are seriously, they are slobbering. The tradcons slobber all over these women. And we've talked about this before on other streams. You know, I'm going to say Nick's favorite name, Paula White, right? there he goes again, right? The highest spiritual advisor to Donald Trump is a fucking woman.
Yeah.
Okay, the tradcons are absolutely slobbering all over these women, thinking that is what it's going to take to succeed.
This is a matter of
Nice
you
guys.
brought up the word
Yeah.
mission.
When you
Okay, money, muscles, and game. You can do that to be healthy because it's a good thing to do to support your mission in life. What is your mission? Your mission is
yes.
to lead your life and to serve some greater good. That
Yes.
can be God. That can be something to better society.
Yep.
It can be to provide a legacy for children. Something. Your mission is greater than you. If you're using money, muscles, and game to get women, you're making women your mission.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of selfish. You're doing the right things for the wrong reasons to serve, and you're making a woman your mission instead of your mission to serve a greater good, which is yourself and God or something beyond you.
But Steve, what's wrong with making a woman your mission?
Well, you get fucked. You get fucked. You know what? I find it frustrating what Red Pill has become, honestly, because all I hear is how to get your panties wet. You know, like how to get your fucking you again.
That's not the interesting part of this, because but that's all just part of hypergamy insurance. The interesting part, we don't go after people, we go after ideas. And the core idea behind this is that the highest mission of a man is to chase a woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Now,
that's not man's highest mission.
Nick is saying no, and I think we all can agree, and we all know why Nick is saying no. There is a larger conversation to be had around why he is saying no, and why Steve said what he said. We've been dancing around that issue, and I suspect we're going to get into this quite a bit on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would say in terms of the topic today is that when you make a woman your mission, Nick, you're right. You're pedestalizing her, but here's what you're really doing. You're making the woman the priority. And who does that benefit? Well, that's exactly what the feminists, the leftists, the tradcons, that's what they want you to do. They want you to make the woman your priority.
Yeah.
For different reasons. The tradcons want you to make the woman your priority because they have a female church attendance problem that the church can't afford. Because, as Steve said in the beginning, men produce the vast majority of wealth through their labor, and the church is financially strangling itself because these women aren't coming to church to pay the church. They're coming to church to look to take something from it.
To find the man.
Find a man. They need to take from the church. Women are takers. They are receivers.
Mm-hmm.
As in biology, what is form follows function? Well, women, it's no different. Women are receivers, and so they receive from the church. They do not add to the church.
Mm-hmm.
And so the church needs to convince men to come back to the church. And that is what Money, Muscles, and Game is offering the church and the tradcons. Okay. The tradcons are not here because they've suddenly decided that they love the red pill. Fuck no. They spent years trashing us,
Mm-hmm.
having to listen to fucking Matt Walsh shit on people in the red pill. And I'm sitting there listening to him do that, seething, because I know that, that he is, because I know that Matt Walsh is one ugly divorce away from realizing that everything that he's shitting on is actually true. And based on his recent Twitter posts, I think Matt Walsh is actually starting to figure out that something's up. But, these guys, and all of a sudden they show up hat in hand, pushing our, this
Well,
Money,
they
Muscles,
have
Game
they
message.
have to solve the problem if they want to keep the women happy in church.
Yeah.
They have to solve the woman's problem, and how can they solve it? By offloading these goddesses on red pill or anywhere else they possibly can.
No, I don't see it like that. I think it's more they recognize the utility of what the red pill was teaching, and they co-opted it.
Oh, because they realize, oh, women like these things, and here's
Correct.
men doing things that women like.
Women
Oh,
like,
let's
yes.
direct them there.
Correct.
So they red pill game was all a reaction to white knighting feminism and
Mhm.
white knighting and feminism, and so this is another reaction to try to rope them back in.
Well, this is why we see so many women showing so much interest suddenly in the red pill. Like I didn't remember 5 years ago, or when did I start watching that content? There were only 2 women watching it, honestly. Like where did all of these women come from? Like, oh,
They have a woman problem, and how dare men get off the plantation?
Yep.
Here's the other thing.
Go ahead, Steve.
The red pill has interesting conversations, controversies. Women can see it as drama, but man, there's some interesting guys there. They're talking about stuff. They seem to be having fun. Well, I want to go have fun. I want to go where the men are. Women always want to come and participate where the men hang out.
Mm-hmm.
You can go hang out with the soy boys, but damn, that sounds depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Depressing, but also they've been doing that for 10 years. They're looking for something new.
Mm-hmm.
and that
They need to experience life.
exactly. Yes, there we go, Nick. Well, I mean, Steve, you said it earlier. Marriage, they stick in the church, their marriage 7 to 10 years.
Then they get bored.
And then they get bored. They have to go on that journey. They have to find themselves. Well, really, for the past 10 years, we've been doing this hyper feminism. They've been promoting soy boys as the answer to the world's toxic masculinity problem, right? Well, the women are getting bored.
Yeah.
It's time. So the women are like, oh well, maybe it's time to divorce the hyper feminism. And look, the women are cognizant of the excesses of hyper feminism. You want to know who's been leading the fight against the trans movement? It's other women. The women's sports thing has become kind of a lightning rod for other women, right? And so even the women are kind of going, you guys over there, you've gone a little far. Maybe we should go check these guys out.
Well, the whole problem is women's sports to begin with.
On that particular issue, yes, but in terms of how what the women are kind of keying off of, it's time for something new. The red pill feels like something new and different and exciting.
Oh, they will be so disappointed when they realize that guys are just here to pedestalize women too.
No. Women love that shit.
Well, they love, but like in action, they actually don't respect this man.
I didn't say they respect him. Remember,
it leads to short-term thinking, short-term relationships.
No. You're thinking too far ahead in the wrong direction.
Okay.
Yeah. What the women love the attention, regardless of where they get it from.
Yeah, true.
Is the attention of a soy boy as good as the attention of a jacked dude?
Oh.
There you go. That's the answer.
Well, especially if they get the veneration of this strong, masculine, dominant man in the red pill.
That attention means that they are higher value women.
Just think, Elena, women are gonna stick around because yes, some men will cater to them and praise them in the red pill. It work anyway.
Yeah.
Other men are gonna criticize them and challenge them. Ooh, that gets them all fired up. Well, now she's excited. She's still gonna stick around. Just think of the stories when Nick is out and he's his normal self and says things that are not politically correct and doesn't praise the women, kind of challenges them. Do they?
Oh, Steve has internet issues. Oh, well, what did you say, Steve? You were cut out.
When women are not nice to them, do they go away alone?
No, they won't leave.
Yeah, they don't leave.
That already happened this week. She's like, "Oh, but I need a guy." I'm like, "Yeah, good. That's great for you." "Oh, my name's this. I give him some bullcrap name for me. Oh, so I say, "Oh, so your name's like this girl, I think her name was Catherine." Oh, so I was like, "Oh, so you go by Cat?" She's like, "Yeah, sometimes. How about Kathy?" "No." "Okay, your name's Kathy."
Nah, nicely done, Nick. Nicely done. And it works. But here's the thing. Nick isn't doing it in the service of women. He's actually kind of hoping she'll go away, but
yes, keep staying.
Nick,
just start. If you want them to go away, start simping.
I was gonna say, Nick, you know the answer here. Just start simping.
Oh, you're so beautiful. I can't even imagine you doing this, but okay. Yeah,
well, one of the problems with Money, Muscles, Game, and Frame is that once you learn it, or if you were born that way, you can't not do it.
Yeah, I know.
it now acts like a cat playing with the mouse.
Pretty much.
Women love it. I mean, yeah. Ah, yeah.
So that's actually pretty much it. It's the argument, like if you make women your mission, then you are doing exactly what the feminists want you to do. You are doing exactly what the women want you to do. And here's the thing: the women will absolutely reward you for this, and they will reward you sexually for this. And so you're going to convince yourself that you're winning.
Yeah, for a short term.
Well, hey, if that's all you want, that's
Bingo.
great.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if that's what you want,
Well,
great,
I mean,
fine.
if your whole purpose and goal is to spin plates, then that strategy actually works. You
Yes,
know?
it does.
But if you
Well,
are hoping to get a wife and
no.
long-term relationship and for her being
Well,
loyal to
right. Okay, so here's the thing. Hypergamy insurance is not about people who are using a short-term strategy, because they don't care if the woman leaves or not. They're
Yeah.
not looking for the insurance. It's like these things work. We are not saying they don't work.
Mhm.
Okay. What is your goal? What's your mission with this? Okay. And you can say, oh, well, short term, I'm just going to do short term thing. I'm just going to spin plates. So what you're really telling me then, and this is a different argument, but what you're really telling me then is you want to spend lots of money supporting lots of women. And look, if that's what you want to do, I'm not going to stop you. Okay. What I will say is the majority of men have no interest in that. And
Yeah.
you can berate them for not having interest. You can call them weak for not having interest in that. You can call them all sorts of names.
Yeah.
But most men have zero interest in short-term relationships.
And the guys that do say want the short term, a lot of what happens is they get burned the hell out, and they
Isn't
don't
that
want
what
it
happened to
anymore.
Dalrock and
No,
Pook?
I don't think that was Dalrock. That was
Or was
probably
that
Pook. I
more
think that happened to Mystery. No, I think it
Mystery?
happened to and his friend that wrote the book. Yeah.
Yeah,
Roosh,
Roosh. Oh, yeah, it was Roosh.
I was listening to E. Michael Jones show, and in the comments, someone said, "I think Roosh joined a monastery." Could be. No one's heard
Maybe.
anything from him for a long time, and I know he visited a couple monasteries, and he talked about the lifestyle, and yeah, he was considering it. That may be what he did.
Yeah, most men who pursue the short-term relationship lifestyle, they do it for a few years and they disappear. I'm not saying they get married, because I actually think most of them don't. Because here's the thing: you figure out women,
Yeah.
and then you get good enough to pull any woman.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? After a while, it becomes like, yeah, I can pull her. Yeah, I can pull. There's no challenge left to it, and men need challenge. So,
Are you saying that long-term relationship and having a wife is a challenge for men?
yeah, I mean, it is challenging for men. It can be.
Mm.
I don't think that
But
that's why men. I don't.
is it a good kind of challenge?
Well, that's a
Debatable.
morality argument.
I know, right?
But no. I mean, yes, long-term relationships can be a challenge, but
Mhm.
honestly, after a while, you figure those out too.
Yeah.
The reasons to stay would have actually. Look, if you can figure out if you're good enough to figure out how to pull women in the short term, you're probably you have all the tools to keep her, except for her agency, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
you
like
can
what
do
kind of tools he has? Like money, muscles, game, and frame.
frame. Yeah, like you
Mhm.
if you've gotten good at pulling women short term, you have all the tools to keep a woman long term, in theory,
You have
except
to-
for the fact that she has agency.
You have to apply them differently.
Yes,
Yeah,
you do.
different.
And one of the best insurances or to lower your risk is tell her no. If you tell her yes all the time, she actually loses respect for you.
Yes.
When you
Which
tell
is-
her no, she's going to keep striving, and it gives her a little bit of drama. Yeah, she may be angry at you. It's not her love for you that will keep her around.
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
respect for you.
Yeah.
Right.
So just don't even worry about whether she loves you or not, or if she says she loves you. Who cares? Love for women is merely a feeling. It's how she's feeling.
At the
Today.
Look to her actions.
She loves you
Her
forever
actions-
today.
Today, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Does she respect you?
She can only
That's the key.
yeah, she can only respect if a man has frame.
And
No.
tells her no.
Right, because only a man with frame will say no.
Mhm.
Money, muscles, and game will say whatever it takes to get the woman.
Yeah.
Particularly, I mean, a lot of what game is saying whatever it takes. Game changes when you're in a long-term relationship. Okay, and people say, "Oh, but there's negging game, right?" Negging game isn't quite the same thing as actually just saying no. It can include that, but negging is to manipulate her emotions. It's to play with her emotions. In a long-term relationship, you can be saying no, not because of her emotions, but because you need to achieve something else,
Yeah.
or you need her for her own protection to not do something, and so that no becomes a more imperative no. It's not the negging no. It's a no. We're not doing that because we need to do this.
How about dread game?
Dread game, yeah. Look, all aspects of game play in a long-term relationship. All of them do. And the reason she's asking is because I've done it to her before, and she's still to this day pissed about it.
You can't go to. You need to take her back to that restaurant.
I do.
No, we have fine.
see,
That restaurant
there
is so far away.
Yeah. See, you guys, that incident was like 7 years ago. About 7 years ago that happened. And you can still see
And it
her
was
face.
just because the waitress liked talking with you. There wasn't anything major going on here. It wasn't
Correct.
some big deal. It was
No,
you
she
just
was
were
flirty.
talking and teasing the waitress, and she kind of
She played along.
No, you know
Yeah.
what? Okay, she just talked and fine, but I can see the reaction of women too. I'm not blind.
Guys,
So wait a minute. Elena is mad at you because of the reaction
Yep.
some other woman had to you.
yep.
I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at that chick, because it's my man. So, like, get out.
Guys, consider how much emotional energy has been spent in the past few minutes over an incident that is 7 years old. So yeah, game works.
But it happened right now because her feelings about that are still present now.
Oh yeah.
So that's why in an argument, women can bring up stuff from 7, 10, 20 years ago because she's still feeling it now, and therefore it's pertinent now.
And guys, to our viewers watching, what you just got was a lesson in how to manipulate women's emotions live in 4K.
Well, it also relates to mission.
Correct.
Your mission is not to make her feel good
No.
or soothe her feelings. Your mission is just to live your life for some greater good. And yeah, that means you can have a fun interaction with somebody else. You didn't act on anything. You didn't lead that other woman on.
Nope.
It's just that this other woman was giving you attention. So it wasn't intentionally dread game. It was just you being on your mission. So when Christians say, "Wow, you can't use dread game because that's immoral," no, I mean, okay, don't intentionally use it. Just be a man on his mission, interacting with people. Things will happen, and when you're showing that you are not serving her, her feelings are not your mission, that accomplishes the same thing as intentional dread game.
I mean, listen to all of these stories that Nick tells about all these girls.
Mhm.
He's not out here trying to, serve these women's emotions. In fact, Nick, what are you trying to do most of the time?
Get them to leave me alone.
Oh, and
How
you
does it
can't.
work?
You just
How does it
can't.
work for you, Nika?
I'm just out with my friend. We're having a bourbon and cigar, and then she wants to take my cigar and say, "Can I puff on your cigar?" I'm like, "Shut the
What?
oh my gosh."
No.
Did you give her your cigar?
No,
Oh, good,
no,
good.
that's not what she really wanted.
Yeah,
The cigar is a bit of a euphemism here, guys and
yeah,
ladies.
no. Jesus. Who knows? Maybe she has like syphilis or AIDS or something.
Oh, I said I didn't want to catch herpes.
Exactly. Yes. Jeez.
But so the reason that we're bringing this up is to point out that money, muscles, and game. A lot of what we've talked about so far is game. They have their place. They have their utility. They work. And this, I think, is really kind of the great seduction of hypergamy insurance. Is the underlying tools of hypergamy insurance work. The grift is not in money, muscles, and game. The grift is in telling you that money, muscles, and game will solve your problem. And in parentheses, because they have, and then they put it in parentheses or brackets, because women have no agency and can't act outside of their own biology, which you are using these tools to manipulate.
Well, and yeah, women can rebel against their own biology. So
Yeah, frequently do.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. Red Pill talks about these concepts. We talk about them. Just the standalone concept of game. You can teach or try to teach that to men. I would say maybe 50% of men can understand it. Only 20 to 30% can actually understand it in order to apply it.
mm-hmm.
The people, and it's a matter of intelligence. The lower 50% just see it as a script. If I run this script, it will happen. And so the money, muscles, and game, we're talking about, okay, those are good. How do you integrate them with your life? The reality is, at least half the men won't be able to do that. They're just applying a recipe. Do this, do this, do this, and then you get the outcome. I'm sorry, you can't hope for more from those. The majority of the population is just going to look at it that way. So,
but
those
then
guys
these
are
men
smart enough to realize, hey, this isn't working. They go MGTOW. There's a reason why the majority of men in a highly competitive market do not succeed. It's always been that way.
Steve, but if they don't apply it and if they can't integrate these concepts into their life, then they're stupid. They're dumb. Right? They're supposed to figure it out by themselves, and they're supposed to have their own mental point of origin, or
there's different levels of intelligence. They weren't gifted. with some of the higher levels. Just like, hey, guy can be 5'6". He's not gifted with height.
Mm-hmm.
It's just reality.
Right. Expecting all men to be able to, and here's the thing, I actually do not think that the red pill expects all men to be able to perform money, muscles, game, and frame at a high level. I've never seen anyone say anything like that, or like they don't imply it in their books, or their videos or anything like that. They will all tell you up front that this shit's hard. Okay. So it's not really about, I wouldn't say that they're not trying to reach the guys who can't handle it, because, well, to use an expression, children playing with dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Money, muscles, game, and frame, they work. And even people who just view it as a script, sometimes the script works.
Yeah.
Right?
Roll the dice.
Yeah. And
it's a numbers game at that point.
Yes. And look, here's the thing. For those men, if that's all they get out of this, that's actually good enough. Because if you walk around thinking that, all men can do this, well, mostly you're lying to yourself. Men will perform to their maximum level, not your maximum level.
Yeah.
Okay. Men are not interchangeable units of work. Yeah, Tacticus, right, exactly. Canned lines can work in sales, but not all sales. And I'm sure.
Do I know that?
I knew you were going to say that, Nick. Right. But here's the deal. If you're a man of average intelligence and average ability, most of these men are smart enough to recognize that they are not going to ever be a top 10% woman puller. Okay. They're okay with that. They just want to know enough to pull a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Average, maybe, and, there's other lines of thought we can go down, but we would be getting away from the purpose of the stream here. So the difference is, the problem with money, muscles, and game is not money, muscles, and game. That they are not a problem. They never will be a problem. The problem comes when you try to say money, muscles, and game are insurance. They will keep you from ever running into these other problems. And, everyone will say, well, we don't say that can't happen. Okay. But you sure do market it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, you put the right legal lawyer words in your actual statements, but you sure do market it that way. And that's what people are responding to. They're not responding to your carefully crafted legalese buried in your book or your video. They're responding to the fact that what you're saying is a different coat of paint on the same thing that the feminists are saying. Make women your mission.
Yeah.
Women are not and never will be the mission of a successful man. The red pill used to say stuff like this years ago.
Yeah. Even like 6 years ago when I started watching Kevin Samuels and then Rollo, and like that message used to be prevalent in those years. What happened?
Well, George Bruno still does that.
Yeah, I know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Reiterates that a lot.
Yeah, there are still old school red pill content creators, but it's just not the popular red pill.
Well,
sorry to say that, but
okay. No, here that you've actually pointed out something else very important. Hypergamy insurance is a very seductive message. Men desperately want to believe that there is a formula that they can follow that will make women fall in love with them forever. The reason that hypergamy insurance works is because of that. Men are desperate for a formula. Our message of you've got to have money, muscles, game, and frame, but they are no guarantee. It doesn't sell well, okay? Because men look at that and go, you're telling me I can do everything right and she can still leave?
Yes.
Yes, we are telling you that. Well, because what are the men going to say next? Well, why should I bother? And to that you go, hello, MGTOW.
I know, right?
Right? But here's the thing. The men are arriving at that conclusion on their own.
Yeah.
That's why they come into the red pill, and then 6 to 9 months later, they're gone.
And you can't you can't call them stupid for not wanting to deal with women.
I'm going to say this. They might not have IQ, but
Mhm.
they're smarter than the people selling this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because they recognize it for what it is, and they might not be able to articulate it, they might not understand it, but they recognize it for what it is using their pattern matching software, and they're like, yeah, got it. Just lost my shirt to that exact same message before, not doing that again.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, what's the solution?
Well, Nick, you're the solution.
Is there a solution?
No.
I was going to ask that one earlier, but unique.
In order to answer that question, you have to ask another question. What's the mission? I can't give you a solution until you tell me what your mission is, what your goals are.
Mm-hmm.
Man has a mission, but he still wants a wife and family, right?
Yeah.
Wife and children. Is it just
Okay.
not on the menu?
Well, here's something that used to be really popular in the red pill. A saying. Go about your mission. Go about being the best version and conquering your mission. The women, it can be said one of two ways. Either the women will find you, or the women are hanging out at the finish line picking the winners. Okay? Don't worry about the women. The tradcons desperately need you to be worrying about the women. The feminists desperately need you to be worrying about the women. Don't worry about the women. Worry about your mission. And if you don't have a mission, well, hate to break it to you, my fellow man. That's the reason you don't have a woman.
As an intro to our Wednesday stream, I think morality has something to do with this in principles.
Yeah.
We kept using
And
the term
so-
good, didn't we?
Bring that in here. And
We're losing
men
Steve again.
don't have a lot of time for the church.
Sorry, what?
A lot of men,
Steve,
a lot of men
repeat?
don't.
Can you
Yeah,
repeat
a
from
lot of
the
men-
beginning? Mhm.
I'll just keep going. A lot of men don't have much time for the church, but they still have morals and principles and a mission greater than themselves.
Mhm.
They still may have a a desire and a respect for God, but they don't really have much use for the church. So they still have a mission greater than themselves. That is a male trait. But they are using morality in principles and applying them to their lives. And so that's where I think we're going to touch on some of those things Wednesday.
I'm looking forward to this live stream. I really wanted to talk about morality, but you guys are going to do a far better job. And then maybe we can talk about like a derivative topic out of that.
Well, one of the interesting things about having a mission, particularly a mission greater than stuffing one's own face with sugar, is it requires sacrifice.
Yeah.
And if we're going to sacrifice something, now we need we need a heuristic to help us determine whether or not the sacrifice we're making is worth the effort. And at the end of the day, a lot of morality falls into heuristic. Okay.
That's just big words of saying your sacrifice has to be for a greater good.
Pretty much. Well, but and how do we figure out if the sacrifice is for a greater good, not a greater evil? Because you can absolutely sacrifice for a greater bad. Am I wrong, Nick? Am I wrong?
Yep.
I'm wrong. Okay.
I'll argue. The man sees that as
you're right. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
Let me argue that a man who sacrifices for what you're calling a greater evil is actually a selfish sacrifice, which he thinks is for his own good, because it is what he does in his own freedom. Therefore, he will spin that and say, well, it's for the greater good because it's my pleasure.
Well,
yes, Steve,
but this kind of enlightened self-interest is not the same as pure selfish self-interest, isn't it?
Enlightened self-interest is the idea that I can benefit from improving the world. And here's the thing:
so
I do benefit from improving the world. What?
Well,
Nick,
I'm thinking sacrificing to the greater evil is, let's just say, you had the Maoist and the other party in China, and you had all these people, destroying, basically unaliving a bunch of skilled workers that did not comply to party lines, but it was for the quote unquote greater good. It was actually the greater evil.
Right. And I think you and Steve are broadly agreeing with each other. Is that
Yeah,
true. So we're going to get into that kind of stuff today. I actually have a cool little science thing I was reading about recently about quantum mechanics and whatnot, and I want to bring it up because it actually touches on some very philosophical problems with empiricism.
Oh, I got some empiricism problems. Yeah.
Oh well, there's a fascinating thing happening in science, high-end science right now, where it'll take a little while to draw it out, but where the empiricists might not be they might not be as precise as they think they are. They might be relying on a little more inference and heuristic than they think they are.
They always are, because the data is always limited.
Yes. And it turns out there's actually a physics reason why the data is always limited. It puts this really cool hard limit on how much you can actually know. And we can get very philosophical with it. We're going to have a lot of fun on Wednesday. Steve, I don't know if you can stick around, but this is probably going to be a long stream. Also, next Wednesday is our 1-year anniversary for the Resurgence. We'll have been streaming for 1 year. So we have some special things for you guys. We'll be trying out some new things with the stream. So definitely join us on time. we're going to get started. We've got a lot to get through. We've got some new things to share with you all.
Mm-hmm.
So
on Wednesday at 5:45 p.m. Pacific, guys, please subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel. Awesome. I just shared the schedule. Well, I wanted to ask Nick, the lack of moral principles leads to degeneracy and collapse, right? And when there are no moral principles, people don't know what's good and what's evil.
They're always going to have some semblance of good and evil, but they will call good evil and evil good.
Ah, I see.
You see that in Romans chapter 1. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's usually society does degenerate, and lack of morals means lack of cohesion, anarchy, leading to some power taking over, usually in some sort of dictatorial form.
And imposing a moral order.
Yep. Yep.
A lack of more. We have a saying in trading: the cure for high prices is high prices. The cure for a lack of morality is a lack of morality. And we will absolutely be getting into that on Wednesday.
Oh, wow. I'm so looking forward to this live stream, guys. I'll try to join you as soon as I'm done with my Pilates class. Anyway, great live stream today. Thank you so much for your thoughts, for your patience also. I did write an article. I have to add some changes to it because some of my ideas were challenged today. So I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Yeah, guys, please subscribe to my Substack. I do share the summaries of our live streams there. I try to summarize the ideas that we are talking about here on both channels, on my channel and then on the Resurgence of Sanity. And then join us for other interesting activities here on my channel as well. Okay. So, yeah. Tacticus.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I know, right? Wow. Well, anyway, guys, it was a pleasure to see White Claws, Sheaf, and Tacticus. Remember to please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you all next week. Okay, have a wonderful day, everyone. Join the Resurgence on Wednesday, and we'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far.